Imagine waking up one day to find your home surrounded by armed soldiers. Your neighbors are either fleeing or being executed. The name of your town is erased from the map. This is not a dystopian novel. This is the reality of what happened to Palestinians in 1948. In his groundbreaking book, The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine, historian Ilan Pappé uncovers the chilling truth behind the birth of the State of Israel and the systematic destruction of Palestinian society. For decades, the Zionist movement spread the myth that Palestine was a land without a people, for a people without a land. But Ilan Pappé dismantles this lie with undeniable evidence. Palestine was not empty. It was home to over 1.5 million Palestinians living in thriving cities and villages with a rich cultural and economic life. Pappé uses historical population records from the Ottoman and British Mandate periods, showing that Palestine was inhabited by a large and vibrant population. Census data from those times proves the presence of thriving Palestinian communities. Further evidence comes from the accounts of foreign travelers, missionaries, and diplomats who visited the region in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Their writings describe Palestinian towns filled with life, bustling markets, and established cultural traditions, contradicting the claim that the land was devoid of people. Additionally, land ownership and agricultural records reveal that Palestinians had a deep connection to the land. Far from being barren, the land was actively cultivated, with Palestinian farmers using it for centuries. Finally, even early Zionist leaders acknowledged the presence of Palestinians in their own writings, revealing that the myth of a land without a people was a strategic narrative rather than a reflection of reality. These myths, however, were essential in paving the way for the next phase of the Zionist movement, the creation of a plan to remove the Palestinian population. Pappé exposes how Zionist militias, led by figures like David Ben-Gurion, created a detailed blueprint for expelling Palestinians. This strategy, called Plan Dalet, was not about self-defense, as often claimed. It was a carefully crafted military operation designed to empty Palestine of its native inhabitants by force. The plan outlined a systematic approach. Villages were first surrounded, then bombarded, and finally stormed. Any resistance was crushed, and survivors were forced to flee in terror. Orders were issued to destroy homes, poison wells, and ensure that expelled Palestinians could never return. Plan Dalet was executed with brutal efficiency. Between April and May 1948, Zionist militias targeted key towns and villages, erasing entire communities. Cities like Haifa and Jaffa, once thriving with Palestinian life, were depopulated almost overnight. The residents were forced to flee by land and sea, often under gunfire. But forced expulsions were not enough. Massacres were used as a tool of terror to accelerate the ethnic cleansing. One of the most infamous atrocities was the Deir Yassin massacre. On April 9, 1948, over 100 men, women, and children were brutally slaughtered by the Irgun and Li paramilitary groups. Survivors were paraded through Jerusalem, their horror serving as a warning to other Palestinian communities. But Deir Yassin was not an isolated case. In the village of Tantura, Israeli forces executed over 200 unarmed Palestinians. Eyewitness accounts and newly uncovered mass graves confirm the scale of the brutality. Similar horrors took place in Lydda, Dawaima, and dozens of other villages. These massacres were not accidents of war. They were deliberate acts designed to eliminate any possibility of Palestinian resistance. By the time the 1948 war ended, over 530 Palestinian villages had been wiped off the map, and 750,000 Palestinians had been permanently displaced. These coordinated attacks proved that ethnic cleansing was not just a consequence of war, it was the objective. Zionist militias didn't always need bullets to empty villages. They used psychological warfare, broadcasting false radio messages warning of impending massacres, spreading fear so that entire villages would flee in terror. Pappé writes, The fear of what happened in one village spread to the next, leading to an exodus without resistance. Many assume the British simply left Palestine in 1948, but Pappé reveals that British forces actively enabled the ethnic cleansing. They knew about Plan Dalet but did nothing to stop it. Worse, they disarmed Palestinian fighters while allowing Zionist militias to operate freely. Ethnic cleansing was not just about land, it was also about erasing an entire culture. Palestinian towns were renamed with Hebrew names. Hundreds of villages were bulldozed, and in their place, Israeli settlements were built. Even Palestinian culture was stolen and repackaged. Traditional Palestinian dishes like hummus and falafel were rebranded as Israeli food. The keffiyeh, a symbol of Palestinian resistance, was appropriated while its meaning was erased. Before the full-scale ethnic cleansing, Zionist forces targeted Palestinian intellectuals, religious leaders, and activists. Many were assassinated, exiled, or imprisoned, ensuring that Palestinian society would be left leaderless and vulnerable. Even those Palestinians who managed to remain in what became Israel were not spared. The Israeli government labeled them present absentees, a term designed to strip them of their property rights. Their homes were confiscated and given to Jewish settlers. Pappé makes it clear, the Nakba was not a one-time event. It is an ongoing process. Today, Palestinians continue to be expelled from their homes in places like Sheikh Jarrah and the Negev. Israeli airstrikes destroy homes in Gaza, and illegal settlements expand in the West Bank. The ethnic cleansing never stopped, it simply evolved. The policies that displaced Palestinians in 1948 remain in place today, systematically denying them the right to return to their ancestral land. The ethnic cleansing of Palestine is not just a history book. It is a warning, a reminder, a testament to the resilience of a people who refuse to disappear. Despite decades of oppression, Palestinian identity endures.